हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू मनु लॉ क्लासेस। मेरा नाम गौतम दीक्षित है, जीके एंड करंट अफेयर्स फैकल्टी। आज के इस वीडियो में द डेली हिंदू एनालिसिस में हम नवंबर 9 2021 के इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज़ को डिस्कस करेंगे विच आर इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर क्लैट, एलेट एंड अदर लॉ एंट्रेंस एग्जाम्स। टू एक्सेस द वीडियोज ऑफ डेली हिंदू एनालिसिस प्लीज सब्सक्राइब टू द मनु लॉ क्लासेस। अब हम इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज़ पहले आज का कर लेते हैं। द फर्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज़ विच इज़ कमिंग इज फ्रॉम श्रीनगर यूनेस्को। इस टाइप के जो क्वेश्चंस होते हैं वो क्लैट और एलेट में बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं। सो सी, यूनेस्को पिक्स श्रीनगर एज क्रिएटिव सिटी। सो यूनेस्को विच इज़ अ स्पेशलाइज्ड एजेंसी ऑफ द यूनाइटेड नेशन, द फुल फॉर्म ऑफ यूनेस्को इज the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. It is headquartered at Paris in France, and the Director General of UNESCO is Audrey Azoulay. So Audrey, A-U-D-R-E-I, Audrey A-Z-O-U-L-A, Audrey Azoulay is the incumbent Director General of UNESCO. Now UNESCO का, if you will see UNESCO's, so UNESCO has a smart creative cities network. So what is this creative cities network? So the UNESCO creative city network, ये जो प्रोजेक्ट था, it was launched in 2004 में ये प्रोजेक्ट लॉन्च हुआ था। क्यों लॉन्च हुआ था? Because to promote cooperation among cities which recognized creativity, ध्यान देना, which recognized creativity as the factor in their urban development। मतलब कि वहाँ का जो अर्बन डेवलपमेंट है वो एक किसी क्रिएटिव कॉन्सेप्ट के ऊपर बेस्ड है। तो जैसे कि अगर हम श्रीनगर की बात करें तो श्रीनगर की भी जो पूरा अर्बन डेवलपमेंट है, इट इज़ बेस्ड ऑन द क्रिएटिविटी लाइक हैंडीक्राफ्ट फॉर एग्जांपल। सो श्रीनगर हैज़ बीन सिलेक्टेड एज द क्रिएटिव सिटी दिस ईयर। वॉज श्रीनगर द ओनली सिटी इन द वर्ल्ड टू बी पिक्ड फॉर क्रिएटिव सिटीज नेटवर्क? सो वी विल सी नो, Srinagar is among the 49 cities as part of the Creative City Network under the category of Craft and Folk Art. कौन सी कैटेगरी है? Craft and Folk Art. Then if you will just see the other information over here, so UNESCO Creative City Network, the process of nomination of Srinagar under the UNESCO Creative City Network was undertaken and funded under the World Bank funded Jhelum Tawi Flood Recovery Project. तो अगर स्टैटिक क्वेश्चंस आते हैं कि श्रीनगर इज लोकेटेड ऑन द बैंक ऑफ विच रिवर, सो द आंसर इज झेलम। नाउ व्हाई श्रीनगर हैज बीन गिवन दिस क्रिएटिव सिटीज टैग? सो फॉर द रिकॉग्निशन ऑफ हिस्टोरिकल क्राफ्ट एंड आर्ट्स ऑफ द सिटी। नाउ व्हाट द बेनिफिट विल बी देयर फॉर श्रीनगर आफ्टर गेटिंग द टैग ऑफ क्रिएटिव सिटी बाय द यूनेस्को? So the inclusion in the Creative Cities Network is likely to pave way for the city to represent its handicraft on the global stage. Now see this network, it involves folk art, media, film, literature, design, then gastronomy. Gastronomy का मतलब होता है to study the relationship between food and culture, and media arts. Now श्रीनगर के साथ साथ एक और इंडियन सिटी थी which was competing for the recognition by the UNESCO, but Srinagar has finally got the tag. Now in India, how many cities are there which have been recognized as the creative city under the UNESCO? So the Jaipur, it has been recognized under the same category as Srinagar, that is crafts and folk arts. Okay, different categories हैं creative cities के। तो श्रीनगर का और जयपुर का जो कैटेगरी है, इट इज़ सेम, क्राफ्ट्स एंड फोल्क आर्ट्स। इट वाज रिकॉग्नाइज्ड इन 2015। देन वाराणसी एंड चेन्नई फॉर क्रिएटिव सिटी इन द कैटेगरी ऑफ म्यूजिक, इट वाज आल्सो रिकॉग्नाइज्ड इन 2015 इन फॉर वाराणसी, 2017 फॉर चेन्नई। द नेक्स्ट important news is about the Padma Awards. Now पद्मा अवार्ड्स, तो हम देखेंगे कि पद्मा अवार्ड्स को समझने के लिए पहले हम बेसिक्स में जाते हैं टू अंडरस्टैंड द बेसिक। सो ऑन 2 जनवरी 1954 टू अवार्ड्स वेर इंस्टीट्यूटेड, सिविलियन अवार्ड्स। वन इज़ भारत रत्ना विच इज़ द हाइएस्ट सिविलियन अवार्ड ऑफ इंडिया, भारत रत्ना, एंड द नेक्स्ट वन वॉज पद्म विभूषण, पद्म विभूषण। नाउ व्हाट हैपेंड इन 1955? In 1955, the Padma Vibhushan Award was bifurcated into three. It was Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri. So the Padma Vibhushan Award was bifurcated in 1955, which is very important. The second important thing is then when the Padma Vibhushan award, when it was instituted in 1954, it was not awarded posthumously. But in 1955, when Padma Vibhushan award was bifurcated into three, that is Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri, it was also awarded posthumously. Now, if you will see this year, what is the special thing about this year for examination point of view, we will see that this year the award was awarded for 2 years, the year 2020 and 2021. कोरोना के वजह से 2020 में ये अवार्ड नहीं दिया गया था, बट 2021 में इट हैज़ बीन अवॉर्डेड फॉर बोथ द ईयर. एक इवेंट मॉर्निंग में हुआ, एक इवेंट इवनिंग में हुआ. टोटल 7 पद्म विभूषण हैज़ बीन अवॉर्डेड, 16 Padma Bhushan and 122 Padma Shri awards. Now see who have got received the Padma Vibhushan award. So former Union Minister George Fernandez, Arun Jaitley, Sushma Swaraj and President of Mauritius Anirudh Jugnauth. Okay, so एक foreign को भी मिला है ये award, who is the President of Mauritius and his name is Anirudh Jugnauth. So they were awarded the Padma Vibhushan posthumously for exceptional and distinguished service. The second important point to remember is that Mary Kom, MC Mary Kom, who is the women boxer in India, and then Shri Vishweshwar Tirtha Swamiji of Udupi, they were also awarded the Padma Vibhushan award. Now, former Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar, who was also the former Chief Minister of Goa, and Mahindra Group Chairman Anand Mahindra, Sundaram Clayton Group Chairman Venu Srinivasan and former Nagaland Chief Minister S.C. Jamir, now they were awarded Padma Bhushan. Then badminton star P.V. Sindhu, Kashmiri political leader Muzaffar Hussain Beg, then the first gynecologist from Leh, Zering Landol, bilingual author Manoj Das, Krishnamal Jagannath, a social activist from Tamil Nadu, they were also awarded Padma Bhushan. Now if we look at the film stars, so the Bollywood star Kangana Ranaut, Karan Johar, film producer Ekta Kapoor, then senior professor at PGIMER Chandigarh Digambar Behra, and Indian classical dance exponent Indira P.P. Bora, they were awarded the Padma Shri. Now here is the static information which is very important for the exam. The Padma awards are given in 3 categories: Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri, and they are announced on the eve of Republic Day. Now Padma Vibhushan award is awarded for exceptional and distinguished service, Padma Bhushan for distinguished service of high order, and Padma Shri for distinguished service in any field. Now the next important news for today is Goa Maritime Conclave. So the 3rd edition of Goa Maritime Conclave was organized by Naval War College Goa. It was organized by Naval War College Goa. It was the 3rd edition, please remember it, and it was hosted by the Admiral of Indian Navy Karambir Singh. Sorry. Now Goa Maritime Conclave, what is the theme of Goa Maritime Conclave? So now coming to the important points over here. So the first is that the focus was on maritime region, especially Indian Ocean region. So free, open and inclusive maritime region where legitimate interest of all nations must be respected was emphasized by Defence Secretary Shri Ajay Kumar. The next is that now they are also talking about the threats in the Indian Ocean region. So we have 2 types of threats, traditional as well as non-traditional threats. Especially it has been mentioned that China, which is expanding its foray in the Indian Ocean region, and it has also set up a base in Djibouti in Africa at a very unprecedented rate. Then who were attending this conclave, which was hosted by Indian Navy? So the Navy chiefs and heads of maritime agencies of Indian Ocean region like Bangladesh, Comoros, Indonesia, Madagascar, Malaysia, Maldives, Mauritius, Myanmar, Seychelles, Singapore, Sri Lanka and Thailand. The theme of the 3rd edition of Goa Maritime Conclave was Maritime Security and Emerging Non-Traditional Threats, a case for proactive role for Indian Ocean Region navies. Now the next is our Foreign Secretary Harsh Vardhan Shringla. He highlighted the joint coastal radar surveillance system in coordination with Indian Ocean region countries. He also talked about working together on improving the exclusive economic zone surveillance. Okay, so exclusive economic zone is a zone where the countries have the right for exploitation of seabed. Now Navy Chief Admiral Karambir Singh. Now this type of information is important for static part. So Navy Chief Admiral Karambir Singh, he laid emphasis on common effort on information exchange for maritime domain awareness in the region. Now what is maritime domain awareness? Maritime domain awareness means sharing information which is important for security, safety, economy and environment purpose. Now India also has its information fusion center for Indian Ocean region, which is located in Gurugram, and it also has a several international liaison officer. You must have read the news in past month that the Netherlands is interested in deputing an naval officer in Information Fusion Center for Indian Ocean region in Gurugram. The next is about the disaster relief. Now see, seas which are open for economic progress, it is also a region which is most prone to disasters. So over here Indian Navy has always been the first responder in the case of natural disasters like oil spills, tsunami. These are the type of natural disasters happening in oceans. Now the next is the important point laid by our admiral, that there should be a process of making a standard operating procedure for dealing with disasters in Asia Pacific region. Now before we proceed with the other important news, two important information to note, that today, that is 9th November, is the National Legal Services Day. This day marks the passing of the Legal Services Authority Act 1987. Second, that today is the foundation day of Uttarakhand. Now the SC proposes Lakhimpur Kheri investigation by an ex-High Court judge. So I will just give you a brief about this, that the incident occurred on 3rd October in Lakhimpur Kheri district of Uttar Pradesh, where a convoy of Minister of State of Home Affairs in the Union Ministry, Ajay Mishra, his convoy, which killed 4 farmers and total 8 people were killed. Later on the police investigation took place, but the Supreme Court was not happy with the pace of investigation taking place. Now the Supreme Court has proposed an investigation by an ex-High Court judge who will not be from the state, or who will be from outside the state. The next is about the CBI not investigating Rafale kickbacks, claims Mediapart. So there is a French media portal, which is saying that in spite of having the information, the French media portal Mediapart has alleged that Dassault paid at least euro 7.5 million to middleman Sushen Gupta from 2007 to 2012 through overrated IT contracts, and it was paid to a shell company to secure euro 7.87 billion Rafale deal with India. The next is we are already doing that there is a heavy rainfall in Chennai. Last day we discussed that why Chennai is receiving a rainfall in November December. It is mainly because of the northeast monsoon wind. Second, the development of low pressure in South Bay of Bengal. Now the flood hit Chennai is bracing for the intense spell of showers. The intensity of rainfall is going to increase, and hence Indian Meteorological Department has issued red and orange alerts for tomorrow, that is Wednesday and Thursday. The next news coming from Sukma in Chhattisgarh, where a constable has killed 4 CRPF jawans, which is also called as fratricide. What is the meaning of fratricide? इसको आप infanticide से link करके देखिए. Fratricide का मतलब fraternity और side का मतलब kill करना. So fraternity means killing brothers and sisters. That is called as fratricide. So over here, CRPF colleague opened fire on 4 CRPF जवान, leading killing them. यहाँ पे एक static information भी है जो आपके लिए काफ़ी important है, that who is the CRPF Director General. So Kuldeep Singh is the CRPF Director General. Now please write me in the comment box that CRPF functions under which ministry of the union government. The next is post monsoon demand lead to power deficit according to the government. So government is saying that India's power deficit this year spiked, means increased marginally to 1.2% due to annual post monsoon pressure on output. ओके अब यहाँ पे इस न्यूज़ में गवर्नमेंट ने पूरा बताया है कि व्हाट इज़ द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द पावर सेक्टर इन इंडिया. तो हम हमारे एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से वो काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो वी विल गो देयर. नाउ सी द इंस्टॉल्ड पावर कैपेसिटी इन इंडिया हैज़ बीन 1,55,377 megawatt in last 7 years. Then there are certain schemes like Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana. What is the aim of Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana? For setting up of transmission and sub-transmission system in rural area. Okay. Then the next is Integrated Power Development Scheme. For what? For developing power infrastructure in urban areas. The next is Pradhan Mantri Sahaj Bijli Ghar Yojana. Then what is the aim of this scheme? To supply electricity to every willing household, and it has been able to supply electricity to 2.8 crore households. Now one more civilian killed in Srinagar. So again we have done this news that the civilian killings in Srinagar has increased. Last month also civilians were targeted. Now this year also a civilian who was working as a salesman in shop owned by a Kashmiri Pandit was shot dead by militants in Srinagar on Monday evening. Now we were doing about TRF, the resistance front. Now this is the shadow group of Tehreek-e-Taliban, and it is responsible for carrying out civilian attacks in Srinagar. The next is regional NSAs. NSA means National Security Advisor. They are going to hold talks on Afghanistan. So we will see that earlier Iran had held a talk on Afghanistan where India was not participating, had not participated. Now the security czars means national security advisors of Russia, Iran and 5 Central Asian countries. What are the name of these 5 Central Asian countries? Please write me in the comment box. And which of the Central Asian countries form a physical boundary with Afghanistan? Please write me in the comment box. So they are going to arrive in Delhi for Delhi Regional Security Dialogue on Afghanistan. Now it will be chaired by the National Security Advisor of India, Ajit Doval. Now 2 countries are not participating in it. One is China and the another one is Pakistan. Over here the discussion is going to take place about the security issue, especially after the takeover of Afghanistan by Taliban. यहाँ पे एक डेट डिस्कस हुआ है August 15. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट डेट है बिकॉज ऑन दिस डे ओनली तालिबान captured Kabul. The next is over here security issues are going to be discussed. Along with that drug issue is also going to be get discussed. So recently heroin was seized from a port in India. Please name that port in the comment box and in which state it lies. The next news is coming from Zydus Cadila. So Zydus Cadila, which is manufacturing a corona vaccine which is called as ZyCoV-D, it has promised to supply 1 crore doses. अब हम इसके बारे में कुछ पढ़ लेते हैं. स्टैटिक इन्फॉर्मेशन बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है. पहली बात तो ये है कि ZyCoV-D जो है वो 3 डोज वैक्सीन होगा, नॉट अ 2 डोज वैक्सीन. अब जो इसका कॉस्ट है इट विल बी 265 पर डोज एंड देयर विल बी अ नीडल फ्री एप्लीकेटर जिसको हम फार्माजेट कहते हैं. इट विल बी कॉस्टिंग 93 रुपीज़ पर डोज एक्सक्लूडिंग GST. उसके बाद इट विल बी अ needle free vaccine. So what is Pharmajet? Pharmajet is a needle free applicator which ensures painless intradermal vaccine delivery, and it also leads to significant reduction in the side effects. The next is the ZyCoV-D is the first vaccine to be cleared by India's drug regulator for inoculation of those aged 12 years and above. So 3 doses of ZyCoV-D to be administered up 20 days apart. The next is about increasing Zika cases in Uttar Pradesh. So Zika cases So Zika virus disease currently in India. So according to the information by the World Health Organization, the majority of those who are infected by the Zika virus disease, they remain asymptomatic and they show only mild symptoms of fever, rash, conjunctivitis, body ache and joint pain. Now what is the vector of this disease? The same vector of dengue, that is Aedes aegypti. Now, is there any vaccine for this Zika virus? So there is no vaccine or drug available to prevent or treat the Zika virus disease at present. Now see, एक क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछा जा सकता है कि इस जाइका वायरस जो है, जाइका वायरस जो है, कैन इट इम्पैक्ट द फोर्टिस? सो सी, the National Center for Disease Control had in its previous travel advisory said non-essential travel to affected areas and countries should be postponed or cancelled, and pregnant women or women who are trying to become pregnant should cancel their travel to the affected area. Now from Foreign Affairs, Communist Party plenum opens in China. ये प्लेनम क्या होता है और ये कांग्रेस क्या होता है? दो चीज़ें यहाँ पे डिफरेंस समझने की ज़रूरत है, एक है प्लेनम, एक है कांग्रेस। सो जो प्लेनम होता है ये एक एनुअल मीटिंग होती है, कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ चाइना की एक एनुअल मीटिंग होती है। कांग्रेस की जो कांग्रेस मीटिंग जो होती है, इट इज़ हेल्ड आफ्टर एवरी 5 years। नाउ इस बार का प्लेनम इतना इम्पोर्टेंट क्यों है? क्योंकि इसके बाद CPC का कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ चाइना का कांग्रेस मीटिंग होने वाला है, एंड वेयर द चाइनीज प्रेसिडेंट जी जिनपिंग इज गोइंग टू टेक 3rd term एज द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ चाइना। साथ साथ में एक रेजोल्यूशन भी अडॉप्ट होने वाला है विच इज़ गोइंग टू इंक्रीज द होल्ड ऑफ जी जिनपिंग ऑन पावर इन चाइना, हिज पावर एंड डोमिनेंस इन चाइना। So that's why this plenum is very important. So now see, so who is the secretary, general secretary and president of Communist Party of China? Again, Xi Jinping. Now what is the membership of the central committee? It is 370 members. What is the focus of this plenum? Now this is important. In this plenum, a resolution is going to be passed, which will be 3rd such resolution in the last 100 years of Communist Party of China's history. Only 2 such resolutions have been passed earlier, that is one by Mao Zedong in 1945 and the next is Deng Xiaoping in 1981. The Communist Party of China has already recognized Xi Jinping as the core leader during its 18th CPC National Congress in 2012. Now, what is the importance of this resolution? Now see, it will recognize Mr. Xi Jinping's contribution and establish his status in the party as the core leader on par with the founder of the Communist Party of China, Mao and Deng. Okay, now it will also lead to greater political control for Mr. Xi. Okay, and his position will be unchallenged for next October once in a 5-year party congress meeting, and from where he is going to begin a 3rd 5-year term. Along with that, some officials they are going to retire, so he is going to appoint new officials to replace the retiring one. The next is Chinese finished spacewalk outside Future Station. तो यहाँ पे 2 Chinese astronauts they completed a spacewalk on Monday outside the core module of Future Space Station. What is the name of this core module of Future Space Station of China? Okay, so please write me in the comment box. The next is, who were these two persons? One was Zhai Zigang, the another one was a woman, Wang Yaping. So Wang Yaping, she became the first Chinese woman to perform the maneuver in the outside the space station. Now here is the important information that Shenzhou 13 is the second of 4 crewed mission. China is going to carry 4 crewed mission to complete its space station by the end of 2022. Now from economic section, we have a SBI report to discuss about the financial inclusion. So now India is, according to this report, India is ahead of China in financial inclusion metrics. If you will see the mobile and internet banking transactions, it has increased to 13,615 per 1,000 adult in 2020. If you will see the figure in 2015, it is unbelievable at 183. And if you will see the number of bank branches, it is 14.7 per 1 lakh adults from 13.6 in 2015. This figure shows that the financial inclusion in India, it is higher than Germany, China and South Africa. The next is the number of no-frill bank accounts opened, which has reached to 43.7 crore, and there is rupees 1.46 lakh crore in deposits as of October 20, 2021. अब इसमें से जो 2/3 हैं वो ऑपरेशनल है रूरल एरिया में और सेमी अर्बन एरिया में, और 78% के जो अकाउंट्स हैं दे आर ओन्ड बाय स्टेट ओन्ड बैंक्स मीन्स पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स. 18.2% are with regional rural banks and 3% are with private sector banks. Now the government of India in 2014 announced a scheme for financial inclusion by expanding the access to opening the bank accounts, etc. Please name the scheme for financial inclusion launched in 2014. From sports, Max Verstappen, he has claimed victory at Mexico Grand Prix on Sunday. Now this is a revision. US Open champion Raducanu breaks into world top 20. So she's a British sports person. So US Open champion Emma Raducanu moved into the top 20 of the world ranking for the first time. So she is 18 years old, and after reaching the quarterfinals of Transylvania Open in October, she became the first qualifier to win a Grand Slam. This is very important. She was the first qualifier to win a Grand Slam in US Open. Now optimizing the fall. So this is about the COVID-19 cases in India, where we are observing the significant decline. But as we see the other parts of the world like China, Singapore, Israel, over there the cases are increasing. We read the news yesterday about the INSCAGOG, which is a consortium of 28 laboratories to study the emerging variants of corona in India. We said that AY.4.2 is not a variant of concern in India. AY.4.2 is a subvariant of Delta variant. Now AY nomenclature is not given by World Health Organization. The AY nomenclature of coronavirus is also called as Pango nomenclature. Now what are the challenges for India? So if you will see, right now the vaccination is going quite good. India has already crossed the mark of vaccinating more than 100 crore people, 100 crore vaccine. So out of that, about 74 crore people have received the first dose and 34 crore has received the second dose. Now if you will see the future demand for vaccination, it may depend more on adoption in children. As we just saw that ZyCoV-D is the first vaccine which has received the approval for inoculation of 12 years and above. So it may increase the demand for vaccination and the booster shots from people who are worried about waning immunity. Then we have to take we have to be careful, like the pall of fear has dimmed is apparent in the queues in airport, the crowds in tourist destination, and rejuvenation in several indices of trade and economic activity, which shows that we are emerging out of the shadow of COVID-19. Now the government at this time should continue to improve the last mile delivery of vaccine. Okay. The next editorial is about cricket. So Rahul Dravid, who is now coach of India's team, it has been about the qualities of Rahul Dravid as a cricket player, and he has replaced Ravi Shastri for India's cricket team coach. The next is about breaking down the hype around metaverse. तो पहले हम मेटावर्स देखते हैं. तो मेटावर्स क्या है? मेटावर्स एक ब्रॉड टर्म है विच इंक्लूड्स 3D वर्चुअल वर्ल्ड्स विच हैज़ बीन मेड पॉसिबल थ्रू एडवांसमेंट इन टेक्नोलॉजी. कौन कौन से टाइप की टेक्नोलॉजीज? लाइक ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी, वर्चुअल रियलिटी, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एंड ब्लॉकचेन्स. नाउ दिस टर्म मेटावर्स, it has come from a fiction novel called as Snow Crash, which was written by Neil Stephenson in 1992. अब यहाँ पे वेब 2 और वेब 3 का कंपैरिजन है. तो अगर हम पहले वेब 1 देखेंगे, अगर वेब 1 तो इसका जो रेंज था वेब 1.0, इट वाज फ्रॉम 1996 टू 2004, जिसको हाइपर टेक्स्ट वेब भी कहते हैं. देन वेब 2 का एक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक क्या है? that it is largely controlled by tech giants such as Google, Facebook and Amazon. But अगर हम Web3 देखें तो it is the next generation of international internet architecture and it will be free from centralization. So the Web3 proponents, they say that the use of technology such as blockchain and token to create a decentralized internet for online interaction and online payments could be a good example of how the future internet will look, and hence we can say that metaverse is open metaverse. So this is all good in the ideal world, but if you will see the metaverse in the hands of corporations like Amazon and Facebook, it will surely be detrimental to entire Web3 decentralization movement. Now the next is what can be other benefits of this metaverse. So it will can lead to creator economy. What is creator economy? Creator economy का मतलब कि मेटावर्स में एक NFT कॉन्सेप्ट पॉपुलर हो सकता है, which is called as non-fungible tokens. So the non-fungible tokens will allow proof of ownership of digital assets like virtual goods, paintings, memorabilia. But those people who are criticizing the NFTs, they are saying that that they are an attempt to create value and scarcity where they should not be. मतलब कि value और scarcity create किया जा सकता है on internet also. So virtual economies might also develop around the customization of metaverse avatars. So one of the fallout of this metaverse avatars is, now see, recent investigations have shown that Instagram also has a psychological effect. Likewise, the metaverse can also have a psychological effect because they will be the new version of showing glamorous social media profiles masking the real identity of the person. The next is about the regulatory concerns. So privacy and security, the concerns will be there. Along with that, data breaches, then cyber crimes can take the new form in this new virtual world. Now the next is what will be the real world cost of this metaverse. Now see, the level of resource extraction required to run such a huge system, that is metaverse, smoothly is too gigantic, too big to comprehend, and it can also cost very dearly because the power consumption will be very high and it will have impact on environment. Along with that, it can lead to exploitation of millions of unpaid workers upon which this critical infrastructure and supply chains of big tech depends. The next is about, it is a case study from Bongaigaon in Assam, that how a malnourished district became a healthy district and what steps have been taken over there. So here some of the important news is about Project Sampurna. So what is Project Sampurna? Project Sampurna is about it is in the line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and set by the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, means overall nutrition to the people. Now which sustainable development goal talks about end hunger? Please write me in the comment box. Along with that, Project Sampurna is in line with the Prime Minister's vision, that is Kuposhan Mukt Bharat, and a scheme was launched in 2017-18 which is called as PM Poshan Abhiyan, or Prime Minister's overarching scheme for holistic nourishment. Now Poshan Ma, when it is celebrated in September 2020. Now if you will just look at the survey, the National Family Health Survey, it has documented in the district a number of children under 5 who are stunted, wasted and underweight, and the number of anemic women, means lack of iron, and children in the district were higher than the national average. Now if you will see, a new program was launched called as Project Saubhagya, that was designed to reduce the maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate. Now over here a very good information is there, which is called as vicious cycle of malnourished child growing into unhealthy adolescent and then further into anemic pregnant woman giving birth to a asphyxiated low birth weight baby. This baby then faces possible development delays, grows into a malnourished child, and child who struggles for nutrition and appropriate care. The next is there is a link between malnutrition and patriarchy. So to overcome this, social self-help group was formed under National Rural Livelihood Mission. Now 74.3% of the mothers were enrolled in these SHGs, and they arranged for nutritious diets like milk and egg for children. It's time to engage in lawfare. So over here the author is discussing that India has failed to fully appreciate the usage of international law as a means to advance its national security interest. कुछ examples इसमें दिया गया है, जैसे कि when India struck the terror camp of Pakistan in February 2019, days after Pulwama attack, India did not invoke the right of self-defense since Pakistan was unable or unwilling to act against the terrorist group operating on its soil. Second है कि आफ्टर द पुलवामा अटैक इंडिया ने क्या किया, इंडिया ने द मोस्ट फेवर्ड नेशन स्टेटस जो था पाकिस्तान का वो सस्पेंड कर दिया. ओके, बट अगर हम गैट एग्रीमेंट देखें, जनरल एग्रीमेंट ऑन टैरिफ एंड ट्रेड, कंट्रीज कैन डेविएट फ्रॉम देयर MFN ऑब्लिगेशंस ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ नेशनल सिक्योरिटी. बट इंडिया ने गैट के इस क्लॉज को यूज़ नहीं किया. India used Section 8A(1) of the Custom Tariff Act to increase custom duties on all Pakistani products to 200%. The next is about the Rohingya refugees. So India is wishing to deport the Rohingya refugees, and India is saying that India is not the signatory to Refugee Convention, but India cannot follow the policy of refoulement. Refoulement क्या होता है कि sending someone back to their country where they are facing dangerous situation. So over here if you will see that national security is one of the exceptions to the non-refoulement principle of international refugee law. तो यहाँ पे India can use national security as a exception to the non-refoulement principle. Fourth यहाँ पे तालिबान के बारे में है that India has rarely used international law. For instance, India जो है Afghanistan and India both are the member of SAARC. The full form of SAARC is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. India could have used this international law to temporarily suspend Afghanistan from SAARC membership. अब ऐसा क्यों है इंडिया में कि इंटरनेशनल लॉ को हम इफेक्टिवली यूज़ नहीं करते? The first is that there is a marginal involvement of international lawyers in foreign policy making, so that is important over here. Then we have that there are several other ministries like commerce and finance that deal with the international laws, and they have negligible expertise in international law. Then third is that there is a systematic neglect of study of international law. Institutions created to undertake cutting edge research in this discipline, they have institutionalized mediocrity, not doing research up to the mark. The fourth is many of the outstanding international law scholars that India has produced, they prefer to converse with domain experts only, and hence they have failed to popularize international law among the larger public. The next is about the Singapore's latest case surge. So we will just see the highlights that 98% of the cases in Singapore are due to Delta variant, and only 1% of those with COVID-19 among the fully vaccinated and required oxygen or were in ICU case or died. 7% of those COVID-19 patients who were non-vaccinated, they required oxygen supplementation or were in ICU case or they died. So that's all for today. We will meet tomorrow again with the daily Hindu analysis. Till then, have a nice day. Take care. Thank you.